So, welcome everyone to the season 1, episode 1 of Nell's Epic Business Show podcast. And I thought I'd start this series off with inviting a truly epic business owner to have here with us for our first interview. The lady we have with us today is the mighty Debbie Field, or Deborah Field, as some people know her, from Field Training Services. And throughout this conversation, you will find out why she is so absolutely amazing. So first of all, Debbie, thanks for being here for our first ever episode.
Thanks for inviting me.
To start off with, tell us a little bit about you and Field Training Services.
Oh, it's a bit of a journey, really. A lot of people that know me know that I've got a disability. I got hit by a car, which resulted in me having my life saved by a policewoman. And I then went into a different form of employment, which was for a training and development company, which was first aid and health and safety. Realised I was good at doing it on my own, have a real passion for these things not affecting people's lives, and decided to put a cultural change in place. Instead of business owners being tutted at because they haven't got things right, I thought I'd help them along and bring in a more practical solution. So really, I'm into the first aid and health and safety because I know the difference it can make if people have got it right.
Okay. How long have you been in business for?
22 years next month. Yeah.
So you started when you were 3?
Thank you. Yeah, I was very intelligent at that age.
Things
have gone downhill since.
Don't say that. You're based in 2 locations though, aren't you?
Yeah, so we're based in Farnborough. I'm based in Farnborough, Hampshire, and we're a family-run business. My brother Ricky, who is the other strong arm of the company, he's based in Cardiff. So we're covering England and Cardiff, but we cover the UK as a whole.
Okay.
Spread out.
So if you diving into the business itself, into your business journey so far, if you had to summarize that with one word, what would that word be?
Oh, I'm not sure whether I should be saying this to you.
Say it anyway.
Hard work.
Hard work, 2 words, but I'll give you that one. Tell me a bit more about that though. What do you mean when you say that?
I think that as per most business owners that you hear, they think about starting up on their own so they can have more pay and more holiday, more free time, do as they please. But it's not at all like that. You can make these decisions, and as business progresses and the company grows, you can make those decisions. I'm at that step now, some 22 years later, where I decide when I do and don't want to work. But most of that's thought about because I've got a young family, so I've had to make those changes. But I think if people are going into business for that reason, they need a really good business coach. And they need to make sure they plan right at the beginning. Okay.
So if you look back, and because you've been in business for such a long time, you obviously, and I know you're a prolific networker as well, so you're very well connected into the local business community. Do you think that you have had a different business journey than anybody else has had because of your disability?
Possibly. It's a bit difficult to explain why. I think I haven't really
try anyway.
Yeah, I haven't really marketed my disability very much, and a lot of people have said I need to brand it really, only because lots of people find me inspiring. However, has it made it any different? I've had different opportunities, let's say, not necessarily for work to be given to me, but connecting with people, which in turn then means building more relationships and a different outlook on things. So instead of work, I work with some people that have got disabilities, but it might help in that realm because the relationship side of things and an understanding of what people are going through. But I'd say nothing else because of that. From a personal point of view, I think it's made me stronger, more determined. One of the other reasons that I came into business was because when I did have a paralysed arm after being hit by the car, I was told by a counsellor that I didn't need to work again, and benefits were there for me. And I had like February to May of that year off, sitting around, and it really did my head in, and I couldn't continue life like that.
Okay.
I had more pride than that, and
Yeah.
I know some people can't do that, but I could make a change in my life, and that's what I decided to do. So
I love that. I love that, because you just, in all the years I've known you, you've never, it's never about, oh, I can't do that. You will always look, oh, how can I do that? How can I be part of this? Whatever this may be. And I absolutely love that kind of mindset. What are you like when things don't go your way? Like, because you've had 22 years in business, so there's been times when I would imagine things haven't gone great, or where you've had that typical kind of dip in the roller coaster. So what does that look like for you?
Normally nights out with friends and enjoying some glasses of wine and chatting about it, because I've got some real prolific friends that are open and honest with me, and don't always say what I want to hear. The other is, actually, I tend to relax into the circumstance and address it, and I'm pretty fair. I put myself in the other person's situation. So with COVID-19, we had a handful of businesses that couldn't continue to pay us. And we understood it. And although we're a small business and it affected our cash flow, we said we wanted to carry on helping them. Okay. So we give them 3 months grace, and then we reviewed it again. And there was one company we went a whole year helping without invoicing them, and we allowed them to extend their contract on another year, the other end, nice. Obviously paid. Yeah. And in turn, that's, retained a lot of business. They've referred a lot of business. So yeah, I think of course I get annoyed about things, and the thing that I'm probably really good at is confrontation. If people confront me about a situation to do with health and safety at work, I'm very practical. I talk it through with them. People aren't there to pay me or my company for giving them advice they already know. I'm there to create solutions for them to fit in with their work. And sometimes people don't want to hear it, and if they can't embrace it and can't find the time to work with it, for me to be able to work with them to make a change, we're probably not the right people.
So what I'm really hearing you say there is, you tell them what is necessary, not necessarily what they need to hear. It's all practical and adapted to what they need, or what would be the right thing for them. But also equally, you're very clear on who it is you want to work with and who you don't want to work with.
Yeah. That sounds a bit harsh, doesn't it?
No,
really?
It doesn't. I think that sounds amazing.
We have sort of like different personalities. So Ricky, my brother who works with me, manages all the training and document management, and it's quite a hard task, really. He's much more amiable than me. So I think that between us, we meet in the middle, and we have good chats about certain circumstances, and but also, I've worked with people that have challenged me, and some that have known more than me, but I know health and safety management, and I know, from my experience, I can find or know solutions that best suit a company without it infringing on them too much.
Is this a way that you've been managing business and your clients since the beginning, or has that developed over the years?
Yeah, it's definitely developed. Yeah. So before, I worked with a senior consultant. I worked with quite a few, actually, and I was really lucky. And they said that I needed to get my hands dirty, learn from experience, and learn people's ways, but also be guided by the health and safety executive and what they're out there proposing that they're doing checks on businesses for. So if we worked for those topics, that would stand us in good stead to get more workflow in. So that was a good bit of advice. And then, every exam has got its purpose. And, we've got to keep up to date with regulation and legislation. And that's all well and good. and people know that's what they need to be complying with, but they need to find a good solution for it. So over the years, what's happened is that we've realised and developed better systems for businesses, and they can then maintain it. So with some, we don't, we work with the builder down the road, or we work with Guiding Airlines. There's no, the health and safety management overall is pretty much the same. There's just different regulations that are applicable to these businesses. So it's just about us advising them correctly and them knowing what it is they need, and what makes us different, I guess, also because on the market still and at the beginning were some other larger well-known companies who at the time I thought, gosh, they're a massive competitor, but actually I don't see them as a competitor anymore, only from a marketing perspective, because we help businesses write documentation and implement it. We're not just passing on templates to be used and guiding them and then going back and having another meeting to see if they've done it. We're actually working with the business on their journey to get their health and safety sorted out for them as they legally require. So it's a bit different.
A little bit different. So I would imagine in the last 20 odd years that you've had the business, at some stage or other, you've potentially suffered from imposter syndrome here or there. Is that fair to?
When you say imposter, what do you mean?
Well, it's one of these keywords that keeps coming back in a lot of the business owners that I speak to. So it's always interesting to find out what other people think. But it's where you kind of feel like something is going on around you that you feel like you're the odd one out, or where you think at some stage I'm going to be found out here, that I don't know what I'm talking about really, or it's that feeling that you're not in the right place for the right kind of job. So
that's really interesting actually. So there's, and in fact, when the question you asked us a moment ago about the changes from the beginning to now, so before, earlier in the early years, I probably tried to accommodate everyone, but I've always worked with other consultants. So if it's something out of my remit, I would not advise at all. I would not put myself in that liable situation, nor would I want the people to hear wrong information. So there's still an awful lot of that going on, because people try to contain everything for the client, and it's not necessarily the right way to go. Okay. So now a positive thing for businesses, and we've got a lot of clients from this, and we help a lot that we don't provide a service to. If they've ever got any need to do with health and safety, then they can approach us, they can ask us any questions. And if it's not our bag, we will refer them to someone whose bag it is. Okay. As long as obviously it doesn't conflict with our business offering. But, it's about working together. So our bank of contacts within the health and safety and first aid world is really big because of the years we've been in business and the relationships we built. So I'd say we've got quite a good reputation there.
So are you saying that as a business owner, you've never really had that challenge of imposter syndrome, because your thing is instantly, if I don't know this, or I'm not comfortable with this, I'll just surround myself with people that can?
Yeah. Or my whole attitude. Yeah, my whole attitude is actually the world's a big place and there's enough work for all of us. So I don't get protective about it unless I hear of somebody that might have just sort of homed in on one of my clients. But my philosophy on that is that if my clients choose to go with someone else, I've not done a good enough job with them. I don't deserve to have them. Obviously, we've got agreements in place and things, but that's how I've always felt about it.
I love that. I think that's a great one. It's not because you have the clients that therefore they automatically stay, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got to look after them.
Yeah. How would you say that in the last 20 years or so you've changed as a business owner?
I'd like to accommodate everybody, but I don't have to accommodate everybody. And it's not an ignorant thing. It's am I the best person to provide the service to them? Is my company the better company to go to? And so it's, I think my attitude has changed there. Instead of saying, right, let's get the work and get the money in. Well, actually, over time, as you know as well now, and having worked with you sometimes too much energy is taken when you're having to think too much about it, if it's not your bag or you don't enjoy it. And I've gone through, ups and downs with how I feel about me working and whether I want to say no to people and if I'm doing it for the right thing. So work will get lost. It'll be picked up again. We have certain situations where we know what businesses need, but they're not ready to hear it. And then maybe 1-2 years later, we then get a call from them to say, we understand now. And it's not that we haven't explained it. It's just in their mindset with their company, what their plans were. They just didn't want to comprehend what was needed. So we've sort of found a bit of a solution to that by breaking things down a bit more for them and phasing things out. But yeah, it's up to the business owners if they want to proceed or not, and it's whether they're ready.
From my perspective, I think that's one thing I've seen you do over the last couple of years that you're great at, is you're really clear on, this is what we offer, these are the kind of clients that we love working with, and therefore you're very good at sharing that with people. And as you said, stop working and just taking on everything and then kind of finding out that it's the wrong energy or the wrong kind of clients. And that's a massive thing for a lot of business owners. And it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because it's that fine line between wanting to bring in the money and saying no because you're being asked, because you think I possibly can't say no, I need the business to actually, if it's the wrong kind of work, then it's also not adding to your positivity and your energy levels. What's one thing that you, since starting a business, that has happened or that you've kind of learned that was totally unexpected or totally surprised by, that you didn't think would be the case when you started the business?
One thing, at the beginning, I was making cold calls and to companies, and I was just outsourcing all the work. I wasn't qualified then. I worked for a training and development company and made contact, went to Citizens Advice Bureau just to check I could do what I'd planned to do. And I made contact with the consultants and trainers because I realised that they were quite poor in their administration. So if you think about this, it's quite early on having a disability as well. So I had a lot of pain and things, and if I was stressed, it created more pain. Being busy reduces pain, so a distraction is always good. And I thought, right, I'm not overly happy with the company that I'm working for. I could do this on my own and there'll be less stress with it. So I thought at the time. And so I made some calls, and the consultant said, yes, we need that help. And I said, I'm also going to find you business. So I decided to go on telesale calls, made a call to a major FTSE company who wanted to support a local company, and then arranged a meeting to go in to train all of their directors. And we're talking, worldwide company. And I took a senior consultant in with me because I wasn't really sure what it was they were after. We went along. I spent the whole meeting nodding and making some notes and things, and came away and then asked the senior consultant, what is it that we've got to do? I had no idea. It was totally out of my remit. And this sort of surprised me that they wanted to look at using a smaller company. And that was one of their policies. They were supporting SMEs. And as a result of that meeting, I got to write a syllabus for an accredited company, an accreditation company, which is really massive. It took me completely out of my comfort zone, but we got 5 years' work from this company. Wow. And as a result of that and our building relationships and going on to do site works with them, they were quite major in oil and construction. And then overnight it stopped.
Oh.
So they brought an American and Irish team and project management team in, and they just brought their own preferred people in. So I didn't have a contract agreement with them. It just happened naturally. It was an organic thing. This is what we need for next month. This is what can you come out and do this? Yeah. And so I learned a lot, hands-on, experience from that, and that was, really, really good, from my point of view, because that was money that was constantly coming in. But then it did stop. But in the meantime, I was still calling companies, and I was building things up slowly. So that was, good job I did that. So I'd say, people, don't put all your eggs in one basket, and make sure you're managing things properly, or you've got your agreements in place, because overnight you just never know what can happen. And just keep at it, really.
Don't ever stop. Whatever you're doing, don't ever stop. Don't ever stay on your laurels. That's always a good lesson. What's something that you're most proud of?
One, surviving. I think, oh gosh, it's got to be lately. So, well, one is I've run a business while I'm also had been having operations and living with pain, etc. But I think the biggest thing that I'm proud of is that actually, I think it is probably that. I educated Megan at home during lockdown, and ran a business, and did really well in work, and had to support people and businesses with COVID. It was major. So what I did, and I don't know whether I should be proud about it, because it was ridiculous what I did. And that is that during the day, I educated Megan and followed the syllabus and was a parent. And then it was sort of like hand over to Terry, her dad, my husband, to say, right, I've done my bit today. Now I've got to get on with work. And I was working till 1-2 o'clock in the morning, but knowing that I'd got things sorted so that I could then get up a bit later that morning, if you like, and then carry on with the schooling. So that was a massive thing. I never ever thought that I'd get through that, but I did. I didn't, well, actually, no, that's not quite right. There were moments where I thought, crikey, something's got to give.
Okay.
So I managed it. And it was nice to hear back afterwards. She had a report to say it's obviously the parents' input that's really helped her develop over that time. So it was like, oh, good. I probably raved a bit about it to the school.
Just hinted a few times how well you'd done.
I did make some assertive comments at some stages, but I got through it.
The school report was not just for Megan, let's be honest, it was also for Mummy.
Exactly. And obviously, I mean, it didn't help because Terry was absolutely full on work, because they provide a service to the hospitals and the supermarkets, and obviously, that was a major need.
Actually, that nicely links me, and one of the questions I wanted to ask you, and especially because you have, a young daughter right now, what is maybe a subject that you studied at school that you now find most useful running your business? Or actually, what do you think they should teach in schools that they're not, that would help kids become great business owners?
Very good. So I'm probably going to go against the grain here. I'm going to say drama.
Oh, tell me more.
Yeah, so it's nothing academic. And that's not really, you wouldn't think it was a business thing. But,
tell me why you say that.
Yeah, it comes through to things like you've got your disc profiling, for example, different characters and personalities. And, I used to really love drama, so I can accommodate. Now I've had disc profiling, and I know the people that I'm working with and clients, traits, if you like. I can adapt to that, and it's probably not so obvious through the drama skills. And just, being myself, learning, developing, accommodating people. Yeah, I think it's very good. I would like to say maths and English, but I sat down with my daughter during lockdown, and the way they work the maths out now is completely different to the way I did it. So she was sort of teaching me at some stage.
Yeah. It's the best way to learn, isn't it? To teach someone else.
Yeah.
Think exactly. Of the great value you've brought there.
You pick things up on it. And also, I mean, I'm not very good at this normally, but listening at school is so important. And I often say to my daughter, look, you've really got to listen to what these are saying, because you don't know it all. I have no idea where she gets it from, but but yeah, I think, if there's anything people need to just stop and listen a bit more. It's really important.
Okay. If you had a magic wand, what's one thing you would change about your business?
Probably have a good bank of cash flow. Maybe what would I change? I don't know, potentially have a greater bank of staff, but I don't really need as many staff. Maybe we're constantly developing our systems here, but this is something I learned from you. Don't just buy things because people are selling them. Think about it first. Yeah. But we sort of like work along and update things as we need to for the development of, you know, the service we're providing.
Okay.
Yeah, no, probably more cash flow in the bank and you know, not spending it when it's there. Maybe.
I guess the thought then is if you had a different kind of cash flow in your bank, you'd make potentially different decisions?
Possibly. I think we're quite good now at managing it as things are going on. We planned, we know where we want to be. I think sometimes maybe, you know, difference in business is to stop myself deviating away from those plans. But in our health and safety world, there's new things that come up all the time.
Yeah.
And so we then have to make a decision whether we're going to take that route now or another to help improve businesses. But I'm trying to think really, what else would I have? It takes me back at the beginning, actually. There used to be, and much has picked up with Action Coach later on, but at the beginning there was something called Bandec, which was based in Stoke and Andover Enterprise Council.
Okay.
And they used to do, you sit down and you plan what you're going to do with the business. And it's really good guidance for business owners if you take it on board. And I think when you're a new business, you think, oh, I don't really need all that. So for now, I'd say if people are quite new in business or, you know, themselves want to develop things, definitely see a business coach or somebody that can sit down and plan with them. I think that's really important that people do that. It took me quite a few years to look at that. And, you know, I wish it was something that was done sooner, but find someone that you can trust in, someone that you can relate to, because you're in it together, and trust that they want you to achieve what it is that you're trying to achieve. I think, you know, it's much the same in our business, what we're doing with our clients.
And I love that you've gone there, but actually, and you've done what you always do, you instantly make it about everybody else. And the question was, what would you change in your business?
Yeah, I think we're all right as we are. It's just our systems update, and I think that's it really. And maybe, even though I've got a better balance with work and life, maybe to let it run without me, which is the aim. Yeah. So we'll see.
Magic one. I haven't got it with me. I've got it somewhere. Now, earlier you were already talking about DISC profiling, psychometric profiling, that I work with quite a bit as well. But I just wanted to ask you, kind of sort of sum up a little bit, but what kind of behavior traits do you think make a great business owner?
Oh gosh, I think it needs all of them, to be honest. So you need someone to drive things forward. You need those that are more friendly and approachable. You need those that are going to follow a process and have a plan. You know, I think it's, you know, most of them are needed. Who do I like working with is a different matter.
That's maybe a conversation for off air, or for on air. We'll keep it where it is.
Yeah, and as a business owner, I think one of the most important things for me, and I think it is in life, is that people think about others and not just about themselves, because it's those relationships that you build that get you through with business as well. So that's really important, that you can see things from the other side of the fence and understand what others need and what they're looking for and what mood they're in on a certain day. And just to be adaptable for people.
Yeah. And for me, that is one thing that you are absolutely amazing at, because you're running a business. You are, we've said already, horrific networker. You've got Megan, who is still young and needs a lot of your attention. But equally on the side of that, you do so much for local charities. And as soon as there is a charity or someone needing help, you're the first one to try to connect people up, whether it doesn't benefit you at all, but just for the fact that you've been able to help someone on top of your workload, on top of being a mom, on top of being a wife. I think it's just amazing. I don't know anyone that does it the way that you do.
Thank you. I was at a charity on Saturday, actually.
See?
Yeah, and a charity that's a school that helps children that can't get on as well in mainstream schools. So I went in to see who I could connect them with. I might need to speak to you about that, actually, because I volunteered some people to go in and do some presentations.
Oh, that's always dangerous. The sentence coming out of Debbie's mouth. I volunteered you.
I said I'd need to speak to them first, but I'm sure that I've got a list of people.
Oh, I look forward to hearing about that. To wrap up, Debbie, I've got 3 sort of quick fire questions, if that's how I can call them, although they're not necessarily as lighthearted as that might seem. First one, very, very briefly, what would you tell your 10-year-old self at this stage? If you could go back and talk to Debbie at year 10, what would you tell her?
Listen and learn from others.
Love that. Okay.
It's up to you whether you decide to take it on board or not, but listen and learn.
Listen and learn. If you had to start your business again today, knowing what you know now, what would you do differently?
Oh God, I would definitely plan from the beginning. Definitely.
Also good one.
So
these off quick fire.
Oh yeah, so
so
listen to those professionals that have been through it and get some guidance. I mean, there's so many books and things out there, isn't there? It's just about finding your niche, really, but look at all the different areas, but speak to those that have got through it, learn from them. Don't dismiss it, even though you might not think, park it if you need to, but don't dismiss it.
And then lastly, what's the best bit of advice that you've been given? Could be life or business, or both.
Oh, just be yourself.
Love that. I absolutely love that. Okay.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. And my mum has always said to us as children, so I'm one of 5 children, that if you ever got yourself into trouble, you'd have to get yourself out of it. And I think that's a really good bit of advice from her. Is that a sort of like non-committed parent? I'm not sure, but yeah.
Actually, I love that too. So well done to your mum. If you speak to her next, tell her I said thumbs up. I love one. That's all I have for today. Thank you so much, Debbie, for being here and for being our first guest. Your details are in the bottom of this video as well. So for anybody watching this that either wants to connect with Debbie on the social medias or could do with a healthy dose of health and safety, please reach out to her, or maybe just a message to say how much you've enjoyed this conversation. That would be great. And if you want to take a great lesson out of how to get involved with charities, then I'm sure that she'll be the first person to say, ring me, let me talk you through what maybe some of the learnings could be out of what you've done already in these last couple of years.
I'm happy to chat to charities as well if they.
There you go. There you go. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks for being here, Debbie, and we'll see you next time.